Hi, I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. I'm the host of the No BS Coaching Advice podcast here on Anchor.fm. If you've always wanted to start a podcast, Anchor makes it ridiculously easy to do it. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. And best of all, it's completely free and ridiculously easy to use. I know I've used two other services. One was very expensive, like $700 a month expensive, until I realized I was getting hosed, and now it costs me much less, but it still costs me. Another service that's inexpensive, but it still costs me. Again, it's 100% free. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you can get paid to podcast. I do no BS coaching advice here, and it is a breeze. I can record on my laptop. I can record live off my phone. Again, very, very easy to use. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. This is the No BS Coaching Advice Podcast, episode 123. I'm your host, Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome to Monday. Boy, Game of Thrones building up to the big battle. And billions. It seems like there's a battle on every week, but I digress. That isn't the purpose of this show, which is to talk with you about some element of life, the universe, and everything. And let me just start by saying you can listen to the show on Anchor.fm. You can listen to it in Apple Podcasts. You can listen on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. This show is out and about. And let me just start by talking with you about optimism, because I think a lot of us, myself included, tend to fixate on problems. And in fixating on problems, I know I develop pessimism. What about you? Do you start feeling as though things are going to, I don't want to say crash in on you, but there's always some problem that you're dealing with? That has been true for me for so many years. When I worked in recruiting, there was always something going on that I needed to worry about. And the truth is, there's really very little that I do now. And that's not because I coach, but because that's the nature of life. And, I could worry about things, but most of the time, the things I worry about are really pretty unimportant. And my life isn't going to be any better for having worried about them. I can better serve by focusing on solutions than worrying about potential problems. How about you? Is that what happens with you? You focus on your worry and not on the solutions. Optimism is like a muscle that needs exercise. And if we can practice being optimistic, that we can handle these situations that we face, more often than not, we feel better all the way through handling these problems, because we're not worried about failure, because that's really what happens when we worry. We're focused on solutions and the fact that throughout most of our lives, we've been pretty good at coming up with solutions to our problems, right? So what are you worried about? What are you feeling pessimistic about? The data contradicts your mind here. Stop paying attention to your mind. All it's doing is getting you to worry about things that you'll be able to figure out. When I was a boy, I grew up in what I have now nicknamed the House of Secrets. My parents shared nothing with my brother and I, or at least with me. I don't know about my brother. But clearly, I knew nothing of the difficulties that they were experiencing, the headaches that they had with their family, all the other stuff. And understand, these were people who met during World War II. They fled, Nazis. They met in Siberia. This was the house of secrets. Nothing was ever shared with me until my father's deathbed. And then I heard the story of how they met, how he fled, and all the other sorts of stuff. But it didn't teach me this stuff. I should say not the stuff, but they didn't really spend time teaching me lessons about how to handle things. I've kind of learned that on my own. And in growing up in this house of secrets, I learned to contain a lot of things myself rather than opening up about them. Now, some of you think that's an okay thing, and it may be for you. But I just found the pressure and the burdens at times to be so overwhelming as to be painful. I've learned over the course of time, when I open up and talk things through with people I know, love, trust, respect, and care about, that's what they feel for me. They get closer to me. They trust me more. And the result winds up being I feel better. And at times I get input. At times I just need to be heard. And in opening up, to use a quote that I heard from Robin Roberts from ABC, by making my mess my message, I'm able to affect the change within me and within others that proves very helpful. You have people close to you. It could be a wife, husband, partner, a parent, who you can talk with and share your lessons with your kids if you have them, because they know we make mistakes. Lord knows they judge us. Our children judge us for what they think our mistakes are, even if we haven't made them. So let's at least acknowledge that we make them, use them as teaching moments, and best of all, feel better about ourselves and our lives. And that's that lesson about making your mess your message. If you hear people from my past speak of me, keep in mind they're speaking of a person they don't know anymore. Great little meme I saw recently. It reminds me of a relationship with a number of my friends who I've known for a long time, who when I speak with them, who when I meet with them, I start off the conversation by asking, "How old are you now?" And I do that because I sometimes forget that a lot of time has passed from the time that I really knew them well. There's one friend, married, daughter, great man, and I knew him when he was 30, and now he's 50. He's a different man than I knew. I know that's true of many and how they see me, even though I'm relatively public. I'll just simply say that for many folks, we live with individuals who've been frozen in time that bear no resemblance to who they are today. Come on, folks, give them a break. They deserve it just like you do. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man or woman in his time plays many parts. How about the part of being the leading man or leading a lady? Have you tried playing that part, or have you barely been satisfied, or have you really focused your efforts on being a player, a performer on the stage with no special qualities to you? Come on, folks. Eventually life runs out. Don't you want to know what it's like to be a star? Come on. Seriously. Get out in front. Show people what you got. Stop playing small. Dream big. Dream big and do the things that will help you get there. And often it's in the details, but heck, most of the time, most of us spend our time being bit players. Let's get out in front and become stars, leading men, leading ladies being exceptional. So that's today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, subscribe in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you listen to the show. Just subscribe so you get downloads whenever I release a new episode. Each show is going to be bite-sized morsels of advice just like today's. I hope you enjoyed it, and I do hope you subscribe. And if you do choose to subscribe, I hope you decide to support the show. There's a link that will take you to anchor.fm where you can make a pledge in support of the show. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you're interested in my coaching you, connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/The Big Game Hunter. Mention that you listen to the show. I just happen to like knowing I'm helping some folks. And once we're connected, message me about your interest in coaching. We'll set up a free call. We'll get acquainted, see if it makes sense. I'll be back soon with more. And in the meantime, I hope you have a great day. Take care. Time bomb, now to my name.